for this year's GOP nomination are launching an online advertising blitz on behalf of Vice President Harris.
Yeah, the group Haley Voters for Harris says its seven-figure campaign targets what it calls center-right voters in seven battleground states. In particular, the so-called Blue Wall of Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. Haley, the former South Carolina governor, has no ties to the organization. White House correspondent Haley Bull is in Washington with more on this new effort. Haley, good morning to you.
Hey, good morning. This digital media campaign has messages centered around fiscal responsibility, the economy, and Vice President Harris's prosecutorial background. These are messages the group Haley Voters for Harris believes can sway not only those who supported Haley in the primaries, but also those center-right voters. And a key part of this effort are the messengers in these ads, who they label as lifelong Republicans, conservatives, and former voters for former President Donald Trump.
Socialist Kamala Harris.
Trump says Harris is a radical. I don't buy it.
I'm a conservative. I don't agree with Harris on everything, but she was a tough prosecutor.
And the messages in this are built off of research and targeted based on ideological preferences and geographical data. And the group believes this will reach more than 2.5 million voters through online, social media, and gaming sites, with a particular emphasis on those so-called blue wall states key for Democrats. They believe it will reach 1.5 million voters in Pennsylvania alone, about 600,000 in Michigan, and 400,000 in Wisconsin, with tens of thousands also in the Sun Belt states. And they believe, for instance, given how close elections have historically been in Pennsylvania, that's more than what will be needed to have a meaningful impact.
The question is, how do you get folks who don't like Donald Trump, but who may have never voted for a Democrat for president in their lives, to come over and vote for the vice president, to kind of cross that last bridge? And the answer, we believe, and what our research has shown, is that you demonstrate with facts that the vice president is a member of the American center. She may be center left and these voters may be center right, but the key is that they can meet in the center and find some common ground, and particularly on major issues like fiscal responsibility and closing the border, being tough on crime. These are all things that are facts about the vice president's record, and we believe that a lot of these voters may not know them, they may not hear them from right-wing media.
When it comes to, for instance, the issue of the economy, polling still shows that former President Donald Trump polls favorably pretty significantly on this issue. So what in your messaging in these ads gives you confidence that it could move the needle here for some of these voters?
We think that what that polling reflects is a kind of nostalgia for 2019. All Americans, all of us went through an incredible trauma between 2020 and 2021, the pandemic once in a century kind of event. And there is a nostalgia for the way things were, or the way that we remember them as being before the pandemic. But the facts are, and we present these facts in our advertising, is that Donald Trump's current plan for a national sales tax would have an enormous inflationary effect, and his plan for huge additional tax cuts would have an enormous deficit effect. So these voters, our voters, don't want higher prices. They don't want to be closed off from the option of buying the things that they buy in the stores now. And they don't want the deficit, which is already too large, to be blown even further wide open.
And keep in mind, more broadly and separately, the Harris-Walz campaign has made a significant effort to reach anti-Trump, moderate and independent voters. And Harris has picked up key endorsements along the way, including from the Cheneys, former GOP staffers and national security officials. The Trump campaign historically and previously has touted the enthusiasm, though, among their own party, you guys.
All right, White House correspondent Haley Bull. Haley.